What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on the 3DS. Legend of Zelda has always been a franchise based around great controls, bright worlds, fantastic dungeons, but there's always been one entry that's been way different than the rest. Majora's Mask tells a darker, more twisted story in the world of Hyrule. Majora's Mask has us taking up the mantle of Link after the end of Ocarina of Time. Having defeated Ganondorf, he was returned to his childhood and allowed to live out his life however he chose. Not knowing what else to do, he roams the earth before stumbling into the land of Termina. This dark and twisted place has a small problem. A forest imp has obtained an ancient relic of power, the Majora's Mask, which gives him the ability to control the world around him as he sees fit. Being a forest imp, he decides to pull the ultimate prank by literally pulling the moon out of the sky and crushing all of Termina in 3 days. That gives you just 72 short hours to save the world. Luckily, we still have the power of the Ocarina of Time on our side. At any time, you're able to play the Song of Time and skip back to the beginning of this 3-day period. And this is the challenging mechanic that makes Majora's Mask so different from your standard adventure game. At any moment in this entire game, the clock is ticking. If you want to conquer a dungeon, you have to gather all the supplies you're going to need to defeat it, reset back to the beginning of the 3 days, charge to the dungeon, and beat every puzzle before your time runs out. The entire game is one big repeating Groundhog Day, where you have to beat a dungeon, reset back to the beginning, beat the next dungeon. This game's primary focus is trying to find all the hidden masks of power hidden throughout the land of Termina. Each mask you find can do something major or something minor. Some masks give you the ability to shapeshift into a Zora, a Goron, or a Dooku Kid, and give you different access to varying areas. Other masks provide smaller but still useful buffs. Like my favorite is probably the bunny ears, which dramatically increase my run speed, making it where I can travel the land faster and also changes up combat. Getting to play around with the shapeshifting masks is definitely the highlight of the game. They're mandatory to explore many of the dungeons, but they also are fun because they change not just how you adventure, but also how you fight. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is actually much shorter than your typical Zelda games. It consists primarily of 4 long dungeons, each ending in a huge boss fight, but the game makes up with it with a lot of interesting side quests and the fun adventure of trying to collect all of the masks. Most of the side quests take place in the primary city of Clock Town. Here you're helping out townspeople find things, solve clues, do all sorts of random stuff, but all of it has a real fun time element. If you'd like, you can even rig the local lottery over and over again until you have maximum money. In this Nintendo 3DS remake, they've done a lot of small tweaks that I think dramatically improve the game over the original Nintendo 64 version. You can now save anytime you find an owl statue. Before, the only way to save the game was to rewind all the way back to the beginning of the 3-day cycle, making it where if you solved certain puzzles, you almost immediately had to go back if you wanted to save it and never have to risk repeating it. They've also added the ability to jump forward in time if you need to. This helps a lot when you're trying to do a lot of the side quests and a lot of the puzzles that are very time-based, where you need to be on a certain day at a certain time in a certain place. In the original Nintendo 64 version, you had 2 options if you needed to go forward in time. You could dance with this scarecrow in a field, or you could just stand around, and that was one thing that really dragged it out for me at times. The improved graphics and sound really make a difference, and you can see how good every detail looks. Even on the 3DS XL, I could really see the graphics for what they were, and see how dramatically they improved a lot of textures over the Nintendo 64 original. I was extremely pleased when I started facing off against bosses and realized their mechanics and health were slightly changed, making them a little bit harder. As somebody who loved the original so much, this really threw me off, and I loved that about it. I love that this wasn't just a retread. This is a real, ground-up remake. Let's head on over to the ratings board. I am giving Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on the 3DS a 10 out of 10. This game is hours of fun, with so many small tweaks that make it even better than the original. Thank you, Nintendo, for bringing this awesome game to a whole new generation of gamers, and the fact that it's a handheld makes it even better, because now I can go on this epic quest anytime, anywhere. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked this, feel free to subscribe for future reviews, top 5s, and all sorts of other adventures. But do me a big favor and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe check out my last video. Please subscribe, and if you want, share this somewhere with your friends. Hey guys. Hey, so fun fact, I was reading about the producer recreating this game, and he said, making Majora's Mask over again is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's kind of painful, because it's like reviewing your own work from 15 years ago. So I'm kind of thinking about when I get to 10,000 subscribers, maybe going back and reviewing my first review ever and just kind of recutting it, because let me tell you, that thing is bad. And just secretly down in the bottom of the description box, I'm going to put a link to it. Enjoy.